Hey everyone, this lesson is about vibrations and sound, so making the connection between the idea of physical vibrations and then hearing it as sound. I have a few demonstrations and things to talk about to do with that. And then we're going to extend to the anatomy of the human ear, focusing on just the design and sort of how it works, right? One of the things we'll look at is like the path of sound made and how it ends up transferring through to you hearing it in your perception or in your brain. So to get started here, vibrations and sound videos and demos here. Of course, we know sound waves are caused by a vibration. When that vibration transfers to your ear, you end up hearing the sound. Of course, that makes sense, right? But how does sound normally get into your head? Basically, there's a hint to do with this. That something must pick up the sound vibration, something in your head must physically be able to move and then trigger some sort of signal that your brain interprets as hearing sound, right? So that focusing on the pickup part right there, how does one vibration transfer to another would be another huge hint. And eventually we get you to say, oh, okay, I get it. It's going to be resonance, right? So there's a part of your human ear, part of your ear that resonates with sound waves, and then that vibration works its way through your ear anatomy, and you eventually hear it. Okay. So the more details on how the human ear does this coming in a few slides. But yeah, we're going to hear and look at some vibrations that we can hear. So the demonstration here, made this video and posted it up. Just one second here. All right. So back here we go. Let me just get the volume up and screen big. You can of course watch the video directly from YouTube, but I want to include it here because I think YouTube's blocked in some ways at some schools. Just got to get the speakers up in multiple ways here so I can, there we go. Good to go. Hey there, I've got some physics of sound demonstrations for you. Stick my face in here and say hey, but mostly you'll be seeing the oscilloscope and the speaker and so on as part of the demonstrations here. So let's first just look at the basics of how a speaker works. So I've got a sound generator. Yeah, you can see it, the sound generator here. I've got it set to a certain frequency. And if I turn up the volume, turn on a sine wave, turn up the volume and high, microphone on, and the volume up, you can see that the microphone's picking up that sound, and you can see it on the screen. Okay, so that's what it looks like. If I were to do like an it's good that my hand is in the way there. Sorry. Same kind of sound, same tone or same note. So you can actually see it a little bit there. It's a sine wave with some extra wiggles in it because of the extra sine waves that add to it. It's a very similar pattern, but then it has extra bits in it because of the extra couple sine waves that are thrown in to make it sound like that. I had to redo this video completely because I was blocking the screen most of the time. This one I only blocked it a little bit. And if I go, notice the link between volume and amplitude again, as we saw before, but nice sine wave. All right, so just briefly, I want to mention how speakers work. And so in the back of a speaker, okay, so in the back of a speaker, there's a coil of wire, there's a magnet. We'll learn later about this in the course in the electromagnetism unit, but basically we'll learn about how when electricity current flows through a coil of wire, it makes a magnetic field. And so if you pulse voltage on a coil near a magnet over and over again, it'll actually push and pull on the magnetic fields created. And so basically putting voltages on a speaker, on the coil in a speaker in certain frequencies, it'll make the cone go in and out a certain frequency. And so we'll hear that frequency, okay? So that's how this speaker is working. And this is just picking up those voltages that the microphone actually ends up sending to it. And so how a microphone works is it picks up those vibrations and converts them to a voltage. And so the mystery of how a microphone works is a big part of this video. So in order to help make that easy to understand, I have a surprise for you. This is actually a microphone also. Okay? Clearly it's a speaker, but I have it hooked up into a wire, right? Into a wire. I have it hooked up to the same way, into this the same way as the microphone's hooked up. And so microphone number one is this. Turn it down, not doing anything anymore, right? Nothing going on here. I talk, they could tell, sorry, I can't see it if I do that, but the talking here, you don't see anything. If I turn this up now, just enough, I have this speaker cone is picking up the vibrations of me talking. And if I go, I'll tap the speaker, see that it's responding to my taps. But that's this speaker cone picking up the vibrations of sound through resonance. And then the speaker moves. And so what we're looking at here is another classic example of reversibility of science. So speakers work by a voltage fluctuation making a speaker move, and then microphones work by resonance causing the speaker to move, and then the movement causing a voltage. So it's the exact opposite, right? Voltage making a speaker move to make sound is a speaker, and then the opposite would be the sound making the speaker move by resonance then makes the voltage, right? It's a complete opposite pathway. You're seeing that on the screen. You're seeing the speaker working as a microphone, which is pretty cool, right? I don't think too many people realize that a speaker can act as a microphone. So the next thing that I'm going to show here is this. I'll show the video first, and then I'll talk about the page a little bit. All right, I've got a demonstration for you. You know, sometimes you'll hear people say, I'll show you something as long as you promise not to try it at home. This one's the opposite of that. I can show you, but you're really going to need to try it at home. So promise to try it at home, please. If you have a metal coat hanger kicking around, that'll work. Or I'm sure everybody has spoons and knives and forks at home, and whatever you've got, so you can do it with a spoon. It all works. But what you need to do is you need to just get some string and just tie it so you have two ends like that. Okay, and then you need to touch those ends just to your ears. I usually just sort of plug my ear with the little earlobe thing for me. Just sort of stick them at your ears so that the string is pushing there, and then you have to just sort of hit the coat hanger against something so that it vibrates. So, spoiler alert here, but like you need to try this. And I could barely hear myself talking to describe what I'm hearing or describe what to do in the video. So get the metal vibrating, have the string transferring that vibration to your head directly, to your ears directly. You can't hear it in the air, like you're not hearing anything. Someone could hit it for you. You're not hearing anything in the video, right? But directly into your head, you'll hear the vibration, and it's pretty amazing. I heard about this a long time ago, and I went years without actually doing this in class. I couldn't believe it. Like once I saw how, or heard how amazing it is, I wish I had started doing it sooner. Go give it a try. It really is worth it. There's hearing aids that basically take advantage of this idea. So there's cochlear implant hearing aids, that have like a little thing implanted deep in the ear, and it just makes vibrations, and then your ear just hears those vibrations as sound. So if someone doesn't have a functional eardrum at all, then you can just make the inside of the ear vibrate directly, much like this. In fact, someone that has a perforated eardrum from either using Q-tips a little too aggressively, or sometimes in really loud situations, if your eardrum has perforated, you're basically deaf, like you can't hear well at all. But this would transfer sound directly in to your brain, to your anatomy of the ear that we'll learn about shortly. So pretty neat stuff. I heard about this stuff when I originally did this lesson. It was like the Sunday before I was like planning this lesson. Someone was talking about like throat mics, and so they actually put a microphone right against your larynx, your voice box, and so you talk really quietly, and other people can hear it clear as day, right? And because it's picking up directly, and so it wouldn't, this little vibration microphone here wouldn't be susceptible to wind and background noise and stuff like that. It would just be focused on what vibrations your throat essentially directly are causing or producing. So pretty neat tech that you can picture having advantages in some scenarios where you need to be quiet, but you need to be able to communicate easily. You hopefully maybe have heard of this or played with this at one point. Like you're bored in the summer sometime when you're younger, you tie two cans together by the base like that and stretch them out, and someone talks into one and you can hear it in the other one. I do this in class with actual two tin cans and a string. I didn't try to do a video of it because I didn't think I don't have a microphone set up for my that works as an external microphone for my phone yet. If I did, I probably would have tried it. But yeah, if you could try this one, it'd be fun too. But really, the idea is this person creates a vibration of sound waves. That vibration transfers to the can by resonance. The vibrations then transfer through the string as a wave. It makes the can vibrate in sympathy with it or resonance as well. And then that makes sound waves that go through the air and then eventually hear it the way we are going to talk about how the human ear works. So just a silly little fun thing. It actually works sort of a little bit. Like it's hard to hear what the words are, but you can definitely hear that there's noises. So if someone said like, "Hey, how are you?" you'd hear like another, like it's there is a transfer of sound for sure. And this is obviously just a total joke, but worth showing because it's kind of funny. Tin can phone. There we go. I have a notebook file for tin can phone.
Hello. Hi, honey. What? I can't hear you. You're breaking up on this cell phone. I can't see on this stupid thing.
Here, dude, try this.
Hello. I can hear you loud and clear, honey. I'm on my way home.
Don't forget the milk.
Tincancellular.com. I wonder if it's a real website. The best in archaic technology. Kind of neat. I thought it was funny when I found it. Other vibrations in sound links, record players and the little grooves. So the little grooves in a record are carved in. So the stylus drags over the grooves and the little pattern is really the sound patterns. And so then, the grooves correspond to those sound vibrations. The vibration then can be either amplified through resonance, old school, or those vibrations can be converted to electrical pulses and drive a speaker, right? And so how are those grooves made? Well, obviously you're just going to have sound in, making, getting picked up by a microphone, let's say, and then driving a little, cutting tool that would cut the grooves to match the sound wave patterns, right? You could even just have it direct, like resonance, have the blade or the probe rubbing against the plastic as the plastic spinning, and it's picking up the sound waves just through resonance, and the vibration of the needle is just going to carve the record. Like it's just very obvious, right? Or that it would work through resonance anyways. There was a fiction CSI link in a program called Numbers I used to show, where the person was doing pottery and there was like a murder nearby. And so the sounds like of the names of the people, whatever, was like carved into the turning wheel of the pottery by the person was using like a branch to like make patterns. And it's obviously science fiction, but the idea of like the vibrations being picked up by the stick, carving the vibrations into the clay, and then they basically played the vibration like a record player. Neat idea. Not actually possible, I don't think, but neat idea. And other little weird things. The record runner might have seen TikToks of. There's neat little toy record players that are popping up on.
Got a record player. Look at this.
Social media
This is
things.
a record player, right? Well, there's a needle on the bottom. Okay, got a record, and this thing is going to drive. Okay, that's not. No. Hang on, I messed it up. Hang on, I got to make sure this is about here. Okay, about here. Wait a second. Okay. Oh, you hear it?
So it's just has a little needle and it's following along the grooves and playing the sound probably just by resonance and acoustics, like the old school stereograph machine. There's even a Mini Cooper version. I put that in for my daughter's benefit when she was in my class a couple years ago. She loves Mini Coopers. Vibration strips. This wouldn't be something you know about, but I have little vibration strips here. I'm going to do it right next to my lapel mic here, see if you can hear it. There's little grooves, and then you just show like the picture there, run your fingernail along it, and we'll know later. I'll listen to the video later and see if I can hear it. But let's see. I don't know if you can hear that or not. There, it's a little louder. So that sound, if you can hear it, it's supposed to be science is fun. It's just you have to. There, that was a pretty good one. Probably could hear that. And so that's it for just vibrations directly to do a sound. So obviously the key requirements to be able to hear sound is something must be able to resonate with the sound. So pick up the vibrations in the air, and then that vibration needs to be transferred to a signal into the brain. So these videos here, I recommend you watch them. I'm maybe going to skip those right now and do it myself instead. But they'd be good background info as well. I just think that I might get dinged with copyright infringement stuff. So this one here, the link for the human ear, 9:30 to 10:30. It's only a minute long. 19 to 20, 20, 30. Maybe I'll try it. 19 to 20, 30. Human machine. When I'm posting up the video, it does a check for copyright. Gives me a chance to not publish it. So I need to go to 19. Was it?
We seize the about as long. Physically guide us to our destinations.
There we go.
Or make a video game feel more like a roller coaster.
So at 19, they start talking about sound. And so 19 to 20, 30, a minute and a half or so.
Our ears provide another powerful sensation to enrich our day. Every time we, or anything else for that matter, make a move or vibrate, we create ripples in the air. Distinct waves, all traveling at different frequencies, which waft into our ears at some 750 miles per hour and produce sound.
While those vibrations were sound, they make it so we can hear the sound, right?
Like radar dishes, our ears channel the sound waves deep into our skull.
So that's the eardrum.
Vibrate in tune to the frequencies, moving 3 tiny bones, each about as long as a grain of rice. Magnified 20 times, we can see the ear, here, inside, and out.
So hopefully that we get away with that one. And then ear working, ear structure. Let's go for it. Ear structure.
Read the air molecules close to them.
Oh,
and
this is basic.
For that, we need to look
so
at
basically the sound, picture the sound wave, and then what happens inside the ear. Okay, so I'm going to be showing this where you have the eardrum, you have the outer ear, the ear canal, the eardrum, and then these are the ossicles, the bones, the malleus incus stapes, or hammer anvil stirrup. I'll talk about it a bit more. But yeah, I can just do this in my own. But this video, you should be able to watch it as well. So let's just go for it here. All right. So the main structure of the ear, you got your outer ear, and so picture sound waves coming in to this outer ear. And so, you can show it like waves like that, but really the way they show the longitudinal wave going like that, picture that energy kind of getting channeled in a bit, right? And then you have an air column that we know can function to amplify sound through resonance. So it amplifies the sound. And then that gets picked up by the eardrum. So the eardrum then resonates with that and vibrates. And then you have these three little bones, the ossicles, the malleus, incus, stapes, or the hammer, anvil, stirrup. And so those bones, little wee bones, your hammer, your anvil, and your stirrup is the sort of the nicknames for them. You can see the size of them in real life. They're like very, very small, like grain of rice kind of size. These are actual anatomy of them. So you can see the stirrup itself really does look kind of like a stirrup, right? That's why they call it that. This one's the hammer here. So you're like, picture that thing being a hammer. You knock on the other one with it. Oops, I just bumped that. So that's your hammer. Doesn't really super look like a hammer, but and then the anvil, it looks kind of like an anvil, right? You got the anvil there, and so the hammer is here. So I don't know if you want to make that one look like a hammer or not, but anyways, that is the little bones. And there's a neat discussion you can have about evolution here. If you think of humans at one point not having hearing, or organisms at one point not having hearing, and if an organism had a little fragment of its skull separate, just for random chance, whatever reason, it had a little part of its skull was sort of loose and able to vibrate. Picture that organism feeling a weird tingling sensation or something in its brain, right? And then moments after, Tyrannosaurus Rex or something goes stomping by, and so the organism would be like, "Oh, geez, might make that association that that feeling they're getting, which we know is hearing, right, corresponds to danger or something coming towards, and so they might start to be able to survive more and reproduce more, and so that trait, even if it came up sort of randomly through random chance and mutations, would lead to an evolutionary advantage. They'd be able to reproduce, and that trait would get passed on to the majority, passed on very well to descendants. And that's really how evolution obviously works, right? This is a physics class, but I mean, there's a neat little evolutionary discussion that could happen, and you could picture how that would work, right? That the neurons, all the nerves in the skull area, would pick that up, and then over centuries and millions of years or whatever, it would just sort of keep getting a little bit better by random chance, and eventually you end up with the current form. So anyways, these little bones transfer vibrations over to the inner ear, and in the inner ear, mainly if we're talking about the hearing part, we're talking about the cochlea, right? And so in the cochlea, it's this long fluid-filled chamber, and the vibrations just transfer into there. And then inside of the cochlea, there's little hairs, little hair fibers, and those little hair fibers, there might be a technical name as well. But those little hair fibers vibrate. And then finally, that's when that vibration of those releases a chemical, which then triggers a neuron signal fire to the brain, and you hear sound. Chemicals and triggers neuron, N-U-R-O-N, neuron signals to the brain. And so you hear sound eventually as a result. So that obviously happens very quickly. The eventually doesn't, like it's a lot of little steps, but it happens really, really quickly. This area here is involved in balance. And so if you end up with like vertigo, it's thought that there's little crystals that are stuck in places. And so there's a little method you can move your head around to try and get the crystals to move where they're supposed to be, and have them just drain away like they're supposed to. Anyway, so the human ear, it's fairly simple if you think about it. There's a lot of pieces there, but these little transfer pieces are still part of the system. I was hypothesizing a possible, they might have been the original bit, and they're just still there as a result, or There's thought that there's evidence that babies can be subjected to very loud sounds by accident in an awful situation, and the parents will be all deaf as a result of the loud sound, and the babies won't be. And they think that at a young age, these bones are pliable enough, and they even could disconnect in to save save hearing. I've heard of that. At least I don't remember where, but yeah, lots of neat stuff. So yeah, the journey of sound to the brain. Overall, the video will just describe, the sound wave coming in, and then air column resonates, makes the eardrum resonate, which then transfers vibrations to the ossicles, the overall group name for the malleus and stapes, and then that vibration taps on the window here of the cochlea, and the vibration transfers into the cochlea, and then the hairs vibrate, and then it triggers a chemical, and the sound neuron signal gets sent to the brain. Okay. So that is a lot about sound and hearing and so on, and even the human ear, how it kind of works, right? So some questions to do with this, how can a speaker be used as a microphone? Hopefully that relatable to the reversibility. Definitely going to be using the word resonance in there somewhere. How vinyl records store sounds. This is big here. When you do the activity at home, find some string, a metal object of some sort vibrating, push it to your ear, describe how you hear this, explain how it's possible. Okay, describe the vibrations transferring through the string to your ear and so on. The hearing aids I mentioned in class in the video briefly, but you can have the physical vibration directly transfer to the inside of the brain. The other kind of hearing aid, if you look through the pages in the textbook that's posted, there's hearing impairment and sound technologies. Another kind of hearing aid would be obvious, like earphones, right? They would just have a microphone pick up the sound and then just play it like a sound wave in your ear louder so that you can hear it. So regular hearing aids work basically like earbuds. Yeah, and then there's a little bit about the human voice too, but I mean, it's just vocal cords, or the cords are actually more like flaps of skin, but vibrating and making vibrations, which you then hear as sound. So it's all about vibrations and sounds. And then this one I thought of, so I added this in too. I have one of these at home. I bought it to figure out what pulley in my Jeep was whining and making noise. So you just can hold it on different parts of the car, and whatever is vibrating and making the noise, you'll be able to tell because it'll be the loudest. So it'll be pretty easy stuff. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And if you have any questions, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching.